So welcome to a Saturday morning coffee rant. I haven't done a podcast in a while. I've been just doing the radio show. I may turn radio shows into podcasts where I actually do talk about the things that I talked about on the radio show, but do it in podcast format so I can use more profanity. Yeah, that's just one of those things. So one of the things that I want to talk about, that I talked about on the radio show the other day, was self-defense, obviously, and we're going to be getting more into self-defense straight out of the book Violence and Ego. There's another book I wrote, Rise from Darkness, Who Are They?, where I talk about who they are. Both are available on Amazon. I really haven't plugged them in a while. I'm not doing this for the money. I haven't made any money off of them either, but whatever. Dude who owns that won't pay yet. He doesn't pay his authors. We don't get royalties. But anyway, neither here nor there. The main thing I talked about the other day on a radio show was how to not ruminate over past traumas and how to stay in the and not battle, future anxieties, because this world is an anxiety witching pot, if you will. It is a pressure cooker. Everything that's happening right now in this world theater and everything in this country is political theater, this two-party system on purpose made to keep people fighting one another so we won't unite against our enslavers. It's working wonderfully, and it's tough to try to talk to people and put the information out there to get them to wake up, because they're already so egoically entrenched and media entranced in their identity politics. People just don't want to see what you're saying. I mean, all I can do is put out information. This is all anybody can do. And I'm not in any cult anymore. I don't vote. So I'm looking at it from a non-voter standpoint. And people will say, well, if you don't vote, you don't have a right to... Get the fuck out of here. I have a right. I served this country, first of all, during a war, and spent 27 years, quote unquote, serving my community in law enforcement. I have all the right in the world to not vote. And to tell you why I think it's completely fucking ridiculous that you do. What does it change? And I'm not saying voters are bad. You're bamboozled. You pick a cause or two that you really believe hard in, and they're good causes. I'm not saying they're not. You vote for the candidate promising that shit, then they get into office and they don't do it. Forever. On both sides. And they keep you fighting each other. Charlie Kirk, God rest wherever he's at, I'm looking out at trees, always used to say, this is him saying this is his quote, people want to fight over the leaves on the tree without ever getting to the roots of the tree, the root of the matter. And the powers that shouldn't be want to keep you in your feels, in your emotions, to keep you fighting over those leaves on the tree, so that way you never look at them. It's a big distraction game while the whole world works together, all the governments of the world working together to enslave us, because something's coming back that wants us already taking care of the job for it. It doesn't want to incur the karmic effect of its desires and actions, so let's make the full humans do it to one another. So it's done way before they get back. That's a theory, okay? But it's based on research. Now, as far as everything else goes that I talk about, they're actual conspiracies. They exist. I'm a conspiracy analyst, not a conspiracy theorist. I worked for the government and seen the immorality and bullshit in that fucking line of work. Okay? I've seen the lies. I've seen the deception. Everything that they do at a high level in those alphabet soup agencies, they do at a low level also. They got to get their practice in somehow. Ask anybody who's been like a targeted individual. They're just practicing. They're trying to do whatever to practice. So the good news is they're cowards. The good news is there's also life beyond this frequency that we're in. So, quit being afraid to die. That's another thing. I'm not calling for some radical violent action. I mean, people want to just live their fucking lives and be left the fuck alone. How hard is it to do that? Every new authoritative control that they enact is for safety. Safety means slavery, okay? Since 2020, they want to do everything they're doing for our safety. Do you feel safe? I don't feel fucking safe. I haven't felt safe since 2020. Now, safety is an illusion anyway, so I don't really care about safety. Can you please keep your safety? Your safety is making the world a lot more dangerous. Hey, the whole world, all the governments, all you order following fucks, and I did the job, I know. Put your guns down and let the old guys kill each other. Because all the murdering you're doing for safety isn't making anyone feel safe. Okay, how about that? Fucking dumbasses and these contradictions. We're going to do this for safety. Okay, that's great. You're making everyone feel safe too. Ah, man. Maybe I won't attach my radio show to this. My radio show was much nicer sounding. Much nicer sounding on the radio show because the Federal Trades Commission or whatever the fuck they're called, they monitor you more on that than they will on this. And if my language offends anybody and you don't want to listen, I don't care. You're offended by bad language. How dare he cuss and say bad words? He's getting angry. If you're a woman watching this and you're one of these new age women, turn me off automatically because male anger, that's bad. That's toxic. Wait till you see the toxic men that are going to be in this country. You're going to wish you had men capable of getting mad. This is righteous anger, ladies. This is not frivolous anger. This is anger because I see those I love who are going to be hurt for safety. The left safety and the right safety is both ridiculous bullshit and they're doing the same exact thing. But because go team, our team has to win and I can't admit I was wrong for voting. Same over here. We got to stick with it to the end. Go team. They're both on the same fucking side. It's totalitarianism. What don't you get about that? It's totalitarianism. Nazism, communism, it's totalitarianism. No human being has a right to rule you. You have a right to be free. Fuck. How hard is it to get people to understand that? Doesn't the 5-year-old in all of you say, you're not the boss of me? And no, I'm not losing my shit. I'm being this is normal anger, man. Because I keep seeing the same ridiculousness over and over again. And when I try to talk to somebody, because somebody will ask me a question and, they're wanting to hear something from me that I can't tell them. I can't tell them, your side's the good side. It's the slightly better side. Oh, no, wait a minute. Your side's the slightly better side. They're working together to enslave us. Let's unite and quit fighting. Let's look at them instead of each other. They keep the fucking... I was wondering what that always is on my videos. It's me tapping my pipe. How about that? But anyway, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. I'll keep getting... It's funny at the same time. It's ridiculously stupid is what it is. That people can't see this by now. That all the rulers of the world, all the governments of the world work together in tandem to lock the entire world down really well. And now we're at a world war? It doesn't raise any questions? Can you research a little deeper than just the surface of what you're told on the news? Okay? Do you know that the Semitic people, they made the word Semite or Semitic refer to languages on purpose because any human on this planet could learn to speak a language. So they're Semitic. But see, Semitic really refers to certain bloodlines in that area of the world. Okay, the cradle of civilization. And those bloodlines weren't white European Satanists. Those bloodlines weren't from Poland. Those bloodlines weren't from Germany. They weren't Nazis, okay? Ashkenazis, Jews, all right? World War II, Hebrew Jews, 19 million of them lost their lives. Marched into ovens, 5 or 6 million of them by Hitler. Many of them fled the area. So thousands and millions of more don't live there anymore. They fled the area. The second largest number of actual original Hebrew Jews are actually residing in Iran. It's their business. It's not mine. But that kind of made way for the Balfour Accord, which was signed in 1918, for Zionism, for non-original Hebrew Jews who wanted to convert to the faith of Judaism, to go to the land that was known for thousands of years as Palestine and have a home in the Holy Land, where their cousin bloods, the Palestinians back then, the Phoenicians, and then they could live in harmony together, and they did. There were many different groups, including the Greeks, the Canaanite Greeks, that all were from that area. They're the children of the lost civilization of Atlantis. They're the children of the Sea Peoples. They're the Sea Peoples. They settled in that area in 12,000 BCE. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. When you say you don't agree with the genocide or murder of Palestinians, and they call you an anti-Semite, how are you an anti-Semite? They're Semitic. I'm pro-Semitic. Quit murdering them. Makes sense. Okay? I'm not condoning any murder that's been done in Israel to Israelis either. All governments need to fucking go away. Fuck all of you. And I'm not anti-government. I'm pro-freedom. I would never hurt nobody. I'm allowed to be angry like this. This doesn't mean I want to hurt somebody. This does not mean I want to get violent. It means I'm trying to talk to you. Jesus didn't really get violent. He flipped over some fucking tables, but he didn't get violent. And he did not want a religion made out of him. He was anti-religion. He talked against the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the bankers and rulers of that time and the religious people of that time. He was trying to tell the truth of what reality is, and they made a religion out of him. And then, if you read the Jewish book of the Essenes, you'll realize he didn't even die. You've been lied to. You've been bamboozled. All of us have been. You have to research. I'm speaking this as simply as I can. I'm not going to get out here and get more technical than this, because you guys don't understand the technical shit. You're like, oh, and you believe whatever anyway. So I'm going to be emotional, and I'm going to get into the emotions parts of it. Get mad enough at me to really fucking research. Shit. I'll get both sides mad at me. I seem to be good at that. I'll get both sides mad at me. Will that make you unite? And then we can actually bring this tyranny to a standstill? And then those who want to murder humanity through shots and wars and smart cities and enslave us, let the ones coming back do it. Let them do their own dirty work and incur the negative consequential effects of their desires. In natural law, in karmic law, God's actual law, the God Most High. All right. So anyway, I'm on Morning Coffee Rants with Dan every Thursday morning at 9 o'clock on Revolution.radio. And I do sometimes rant there, but not as bad as I'll rant on my own podcast. Until they totally take away all rights. And podcasters ain't even allowed to podcast. We're not allowed to put our voice out there in some kind of way. And no, I'm not trying to be some influencer. I'm trying to talk common fucking sense to people. Yeah, I don't want to influence anybody. Believe me, I've had a tough enough life. I'd like to just be retired and left alone the rest of my life. And not have to worry about all this stuff that I actually see, because I have compassion for people. I don't want to see people in the streets. I don't want to see people murdered. I don't want to see people hurt. Hurt, and they're using euphemisms to verbalize why their safety means you have to murder them. and assault them? Why do I have to point out common sense shit like where troops are currently going are future smart cities? You right-wing people you ain't truthers. If I was going to try to explain who or what I am in a political sense, I'd say I'm a libertarian that leans right. But that don't mean you're right. If the left was doing what the right's doing now, you guys would be losing your fucking minds. And vice versa. The left did a bunch of bullshit and everyone lost their minds, and that was right. You're right to lose your mind over stuff that's... but you're not losing your mind over this? You both point out each other's contradictions, and you're both 100% correct. So why don't we reconcile the contradictions within your belief systems, and let's get down to brass tacks, what is really the immorality of this world? And it is the false belief in authority that some humans have a right to rule other humans. It's the false belief that the 7 deadly sins in religion aren't there to control you. That's what they're there for. All they are is warnings against excess. That the real 7 deadly sins is don't murder, don't rape, don't steal, don't trespass, don't coerce, don't assault, and don't knowingly lie. That's the real 7 deadly sins. Don't initiate harms to others and don't steal. Name a government in the world in history that hasn't done both those things and continually does it. They just do it with better words now. They use $5 words because they're educated, and with their $5 words, they have these, debates, and they debate to win the debate, because winning the debate means they're right. It doesn't mean that they're just fucking assholes with more $5 words. And there's no discernment. I don't debate nobody. I'll have a discussion with somebody for discernment, but I'm not going to debate you. I don't care about none of your political fluff or any of your political bullshit. There's right, objective right, and objective wrong. Okay? Your rights are actions you take. Any action, by the way, smoke a green leaf, pop a pill, I don't care what it is. You have a right to do it. You have a right to go get a vaccine. But you have a right to not do any of those things. So you have a right to do or take any action. Okay, so a right is a verb. You have a right to take any action that does not initiate harm. If it initiates harm, you don't have a right to do it. It's literally that simple. By the time every child's about 11 or 12 years old, this can be ingrained into their head. And you don't have to be this stellar human being, this awesome person, to be an objectively moral person, to be a good person. You could drive by a woman, changing a flat tire on the road. Fuck her, I'm not stopping her. I wish you well, though. I'm going to give you a good thought, but I'm not stopping. You might not be the best person in the world, but did you stop, jump out of the car, kick her in her head, jump back in your car, and leave? No, you didn't initiate harm. So I'm not saying being an objectively moral person makes you the best person in the world. There's definitely a room for improvement, but when you have that baseline morality of not initiating harm to other people and not stealing from other people, that's the baseline that all human beings should have for us to have a peaceful world. And that's what's going to then lead to a state of maybe higher consciousness, where we don't want to do harm to others. Why in human history have we always been brought to this point where we're like a dog chasing our tail, and there's always these big resets and these extinction level events and human sacrifice, which still exists to this day. It's just done in different ways. Okay? Everything's ceremonial. Anyway, I am on revolution.radio. I do talk calmer about things. And I like to get into calm educational conversations. I'm amazed by history, but I don't just study mainstream history. I am amazed by quote-unquote religion, and I'm using that word in the colloquial sense. But I don't just study the mainstream. Okay, I study the Gnostic texts. There's things in the Gnostic text, and they kept it out of the Bible for years. Thousands of years, actually. So read some of that stuff. Read, there's a book you could read, Slave Species of the Gods by Michael Tillinger. It talks about its astronaut theory, the Anunnaki. We were made to be a slave species. Read Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper. He wrote it in 1991. It's spelling out exactly how they're going to institute a one world government. I say government, not a new world order. A one world government. Okay? Read the book. Trust me. I'm also part of the One Great Work Network. I was very happy to be invited to that network. I'm on it now. I'm putting some of my material up there. I'm looking forward to collaborating and talking with more people on there. There's over 80 content creators that are out there speaking the truth. Some of them can get just as mad as I'm getting, if not even madder. And some of them don't ever get mad. But they're still putting out really good information. I'm still in the process of learning. You never stop learning. But go and check out all the content creators there. February 21st, 22nd of 2026, the fifth conference of Funnel, Freedom Under Natural Law, is taking place. And I'm going to be doing a 1-hour presentation titled The Hammer and the Flame, and how I ignited that forge and kept it burning through some adversity to keep talking the truth and keep speaking out. As a pseudo quote-unquote whistleblower, I don't have any national secrets or anything, but I've seen the contradictions in the hypocrisy in the government, in order following, and everything, that I'm like a pseudo, I guess you could say, whistleblower. I see the bullshit that's coming in advance because I have pattern recognition and I know what predictive analysis is. Okay? What we're dealing with on TV is predictive programming. This is why we're in the situation we're in, is because of predictive programming. Because we're all programmable. And we're all influenceable by what we see and hear. This is why many spiritual teachers, I'm talking real ones, who are capable of doing what I just did and rant and getting mad. Many of them will tell you that your nourishment isn't merely what you eat and consume with your mouth, but what you consume with your eyes and your ears. And if you don't think we're programmable, then why do they have commercials? Why is there advertising? It's to put something in your head so they can make money. It works. So you have to ask yourself, are your thoughts your own? I don't think they are. Once you start having original thoughts, you're not going to even stomach watching kids get hurt. Which brings me back to all the profanity I was using. If you're offended by my profanity, but you're not offended by children being beheaded, babies being beheaded, being blown up, being human trafficked, you're okay with all that. Well, let's get away from the human trafficking. Let's just talk about babies and children being blown up and beheaded. Okay? You're not okay with language that's frustrated and angry at the immorality that I'm seeing. But you're okay with that because you'll say, well, that just happens in war. War is a bitch. That just happens. Well, no, how about war is immoral? War is immoral. Don't do war. Order followers, put down your guns. The old guys that want to fight, give them the guns. Let them fight. Don't be their goons. They're a bunch of fucking cowards. Have them come do the work themselves. Because order followers, they're going to throw you under the bus if you get hurt in the line of duty. That's what they did to me. Okay? So, yeah, Ignite. I'm looking forward to doing that 1-hour presentation. There's going to be a lot of good information at this conference. It's their 5th one. 5 is a synchronistic number for me. It's about conflict and change. And man, if I had a lot of that in our lives. And change is tough. Change is hard. We're creatures of habit. We don't want change. Who does? Nobody wants change forced upon them. So when we start talking about safety, And digital IDs will make you safe. And everything that they're doing is to bring that in, that we need that, and currency, and this and that. So I get it. All this stuff is definitely stressful because it's new. But you got to ask yourself, all right, it's better if we have this, it's better if we have that, and it's better if we have this, and it's voluntary. Have it if you want it. If you don't have it, you're still going to have other access to this, this, and that. But, you know, you can have this. It makes life simpler for you. You don't have to, you know, blah, 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 blah. They're forcing it on you. They're lying to you, and they're manipulating and coercing you to have it. That means it's not good. Okay? Well, you've been carrying a chip around in your driver's license and carrying a chip on your bank card, and you can drop those anywhere you want. If they want to put a chip into you, they've got the technology to do a lot of bad things with a chip in you. Research it. I'm not going to try and sound like a conspiracy theorist because I'm trying to convince somebody. Research it. Our bodies are electrically ran. They wouldn't do an EKG on our heart, electrocardiogram, if our bodies weren't ran through electricity. Our body is 75 to 80% water. What's the best conductor of electricity? Electromagnetic frequency. And I am not some scientist. This didn't take like hours and hours and months and years of research to be an expert in science this and science that. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's common sense. It's just starting to think outside the box is all you got to really do. I'm probably not going to even attach my radio show to this because this is turning into like a rant, and I didn't want it to. But if people don't start getting a little indignant at the right, proper things, not indignant at the left because I'm the right, or indignant at the right because I'm the left, that's what they want you to do. The left and right, the middle of the road liberal, Bill Maher, liberal, okay? And some middle of the road right, who's not a Trumper, who's not in some cult. Those middle of the road people need to unite. The ones on each side that are on the fringes of each side, cuckoo, they're gone. I'm not the one that's gone looking at these other people who are mind controlled, completely gone. Not looking at the state of the world. It's not normal. It's not. And believe me, I have nothing but love in my heart. I am not a violent person. I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for common fucking sense. That's it. Common sense. You know what? I shouldn't even say common sense, because if it was common, more people would have it. Just any sense. Uncommon sense. Please. Get out of your ego. Your ego is you. But don't let that ego part that needs to always be right and correct run the show. You be in control of yourself. Be in control of that ego. Use it as the tool it needs to be. It takes ego to do what I'm doing right now. But it's not ego run amok. It's ego telling the truth. Read my book, Violence and Ego. It's not about violence. It's about self-defense. And how your ego can cause you to write checks with your mouth that your ass can't cash. And then you hide behind authority for safety. Authority that really doesn't exist under God's creation, under natural law. Humans have no authority over other humans. The only time we do is if you are actually hurting somebody. Then the village has a right to get together and fucking stop you by any means necessary. But it doesn't take anybody in a special monkey suit and a shiny thing on their chest to be the only ones that can do that. Okay? I was in police work a long time. Any cop will tell you it's a reactionary sport. You're never going to be there. Rarely will you be there when something's actually happened. We get there after the fact. Yet the laws are set up to the point where you can't do nothing. They started off in the mind control schooling system where no matter what, you're suspended if you get into an altercation. It doesn't matter who started the fight. Even if you don't fight back, you still are involved in it. You both are getting suspended. How retarded is that? Are you fucking retarded? You want the kid to just get hit. So they're getting bullied on. And if they decide to fight back, they're in trouble too. And then you're wondering after a few years of that why some of them are snapping. Wow. You are special. You're special. I'm from the north, but I spent a lot of time in the south. I had a lot of southern trainers. All I gotta say is bless your heart. Bless your heart. Speaking of my book, there it is. Okay, Functional Self-Defense, Violence and Ego. Functional Self-Defense. I have good drills in there. I have concepts in there. You can learn one technique and you know the one technique. Or you can learn one concept and have 100 techniques. So I talk about concepts in this book and how to find a good trainer and a well-rounded trainer who's not an egotistical trainer trying to talk you into believing how awesome they are. The type of trainer who's actually going to make you believe and know how awesome you are, to empower you. Okay? What I know of psychology, I used to motivate people, not manipulate them. What I know of martial arts, I used for real self-defense when needed, not to be a bully. In my personal life, there's somebody who became a Sith Lord. He used it for manipulation and to be a bully. His life ain't real great. I wouldn't want to trade places with him. But that's a personal thing. We've all got our own personal stuff going on. I don't wish anybody any ill will. Take a look at everything going on in this world. Look at it a little more critically. I'm not going to say be a critical thinker, because most of the people that are saying that vote right. Y'all ain't critical thinkers. You ain't thinking critically one fucking bit. And y'all on the left coming back with, well, Biden didn't do this, and Biden, y'all are stupid too. Like, you're all fucking dumb. You're looking at, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say if you can't see the divide and conquer Hegelian dialectic that's being used to keep you all fighting each other instead of stopping and looking at the ones who are trying to murder all of us, which is every fucking government in the world. All these governments are at war, but they go to the G20 summit where world leaders get together and talk. Okay. Break bread with one another. We won't have to kill each other. We'll just, have our order followers do it. We got to keep our population at a certain level and this and that. And I'm fucking stupid. Anyway, Violence and Ego, get the book. It's on Amazon. If you want to support me, I'm gonna get out and start talking more and more and more and more and more. I can't deal with what I'm seeing. And not speaking plainly. Okay, not speaking fucking plainly. I'm not gonna get into legalese, maritime law, or political doublespeak. I'm gonna speak plainly. You got people out there getting views. And they're monetized. I'm not monetized. They're monetized. So all they want to do is point out all the contradictions and all the conspiracies in the Charlie Kirk quote unquote assassination. Anybody with a fucking brain cell knows that was an orchestrated thing by a government. Nothing else needs to be said. Doesn't matter if he's sipping margaritas someplace on an island or if he's dead. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. That the thought process of anyone speaking their mind can get them killed. For words. And I looked at his work, a lot of what he was saying, I didn't agree with a whole bunch of, I didn't agree with all of it, but a lot of what he said was righteous. He had a good patience to him. He had, just to look at him, if he's dead, he was a beautiful person. And we're going to condone that murder? People on the left so mind controlled that it's okay, and they're doing signs another human being was murdered, and you're fucking you're celebrating that. And then people on the right so mind controlled that it was definitely the left that did this. It could have never been the government because I'm a critical thinker. Fucking stupid is what you are. So I got a couple memes. I'm a meme guy because what memes are, and I wrote an article about memes, and I think I got the article about memes posted on the One Great Work Network. And memes are like posters. Memes capture a moment in time. They encapsulate a thought. Because when we think in our brains, we think in fragmented frames. I've talked to psychics who see frames. That's why memes are powerful. Why do you think Facebook was started? They don't have to leaflet an area anymore before they raise it with bombs. They can just post a bunch of memes on Facebook or any social media. But this is it. Let's take a look at it. Technocratic psychopaths. Watching the no kings clowns and the mega morons fighting each other instead of incoming techno-fascist digital IDs where they know everything about you, everywhere you go, every thought you have no freedom, you own no property, you're their slave. Kings ruled us. Kings ruled us. So do presidents. Kings they didn't want to take full responsibility anymore, so we've got to do what the government does now really good. We've got to cordon things off and compartmentalize things so we can have zero accountability, plausible deniability with our doublespeak plus zero accountability. So kings understood this back then. So what did they make? They made lords and earls and barons and different types of leaders. And even ancient Rome, had governors in different areas of the Roman Empire. Okay, not just the emperor, but then there'd be these governors and different people. So we have a president and we have governors and mayors and we have small communities that are good. And I'm not saying everybody in the government's bad, but they're all your rulers. Yes, Trump is a king. So is Biden. Our kings just change every 4 years, but they decide they're working perfectly together. I don't say the right did this and the left did that. No, it's government. Period. I wouldn't have said this a bunch of years ago. Prior to 2020, I probably wouldn't have said this. But it became abundantly clear to me when every government in the world worked together after the G20 summit in I think October of 2019, and all of a sudden 2020 we have the cooties and everything that went on, and all the governments work together afterwards. What does the G20? What do world leaders get together and talk about? We're not asking questions. We're not looking deeper than the surface. We're not zooming out to look at the bigger picture. We need to be. No king, they shout. Read this. While begging government to rule our health, our pay, our free speech, our children, our land, and our future. Thank you. But no kings. That makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense. Just like it makes perfect sense to have a bunch of grass fertilized in our lawns, and that grass has absolutely zero to do with any type of anything other than aesthetic view, and because we poison it to keep all the dandelions out, which are high in vitamin C, which can be nourishing, dandelion tea, there's all kinds of things you can make with dandelions. It's very nourishing, but we kill all that and then kill the grass, and then bees are dying because of it. And then we wonder why the world's going to hell in a different way. So there I just said something that a lot of left-wing people definitely could identify with. I'm not saying some of your causes aren't righteous, right? Same with you guys. I'm not saying some of your causes aren't righteous. I'm saying they don't keep their word and they go to extremes to get you emotional reactions out of you to fight one another when we could be coming together to create real change and peace. It first has to start with peace. We can't create nothing until we're not murdering each other anymore. Okay? I don't want to sit up here and just be mad. That's the truth of the matter. Until we can come together peacefully, and not other people, not other them. Every human being, every living being on this planet has a right to live. Have some empathy. People are suffering in this world because of laws, because of governments, because of greed, because of ego unchecked. So in my book, I talked about who are they? Rise from Darkness, who are they? And in the book, I gave thanks to several people, and I pointed the reader to researchers who they can find out more of who they are. But in a nutshell, who is they? This is who they are. Okay, they're the conductors of the matrix. They're the ones pulling the strings. Okay, I often say puppetition. Okay, but the hand in the sock is who they are, and they're family bloodlines who never gave up power. Read this list. This is who they are. Someone's going to say, so-and-so, this detective guy, blah, 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 is unresearched and this and that and the other thing. And it's been decided that it's impossible and very improbable to keep a conspiracy going amongst many people for a long, long period of time. First off, it's not many people. And the people who are keeping this conspiracy going understand dark human psychology, which is all the occult is. The occult is neither light nor dark. It can be used for light or used from dark. So dark occultists use this knowledge, and they have an unlevel playing field because of how they know how to get you to do what they want you to do and how to influence you. Think, could it be? Ask questions. Could it be extraterrestrials that helped mate us and never left here? And their bloodlines, when they mated with humans, okay, even in the Bible, in the book of Enoch, it talks about how fallen, quote-unquote, angels mated with humans. You think they really mated with humans? I highly doubt it. It was DNA with shots, injections, test tubes. Santa Claus has been a conspiracy that's gone on for hundreds of years now. So conspiracies can last for a long time amongst big groups of people. And with as superstitious as we are as humans, if somebody at like 9 to 11 years old hadn't told you that Santa Claus was fake, it was really your presents, it was really your parents leaving the presents, we'd be murdering each other over Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer right now. So how about we wake the fuck up and quit the violence first off? Okay? And that's the end of my rant for today. It's Saturday morning, and today is October 25th in the year of all of us, 2025. And I just want to say I wish everybody love, peace, and happiness, and safety, real safety, not the kind of safety that's going to murder you, which is all the government safety that we can see currently happening in the world. I wish you real safety, man. Until next time, stay safe. Peace.